My wife and I rented an old townhouse in Birmingham, Alabama, about 10 years ago. It was spooky for no other reason other than it was old and in the woods. We are both suburban Californians, so this was enough to freak us out a little bit. We used to joke that there was a presence in the house, but after a while we started experiencing strange things. For instance, when I would leave the kitchen after grabbing a snack, all the cabinets would be closed. But if then I would return a few minutes later, all the cabinets would be wide open. Freaky, but just annoying. Later on, things escalated. My wife would come home late after roller derby practice, and we had very steep steps that led to our door. Being the considerate husband that I was, I would be sure to turn on the porch light so she wouldn't trip. Something would often turn the light back off. It's an old-style breaker switch on the wall. You'd have to put some force behind flipping it. This caused my wife to once seriously trip coming to the door late at night. My wife complained often that she felt unsafe when I was working late and she was alone, and we began to realize whatever was in the house didn't like her specifically. Walking to the bathroom late at night and passing the hall mirror, we both spotted a disfigured woman in the reflection. I thought I was hallucinating when I first saw it, but after a few times of it occurring, I mentioned it to my wife, who freaked out and told me she had seen the same thing too in the past. Over the next year or so, I would sometimes have nightmares about the woman I had seen, and would wake up next to my wife and would jolt around. A few times this would wake my wife too, and she would respond with, "Go back to sleep, it's just a dream, I saw her too." The pinnacle of the event was late one night. My wife came home and started screaming at me for no apparent reason, leveling nonsensical accusations and just being mean. I was in the middle of writing a paper due the next morning, so I told her I was not going to deal with this and she should go to bed. She turned off all the lights except in the downstairs den where I was working and went upstairs to bed. An hour later, I finished my paper and went to bed. When I got to the bottom of the stairwell leading to our bedroom, I turned on the light and was shocked to see my wife sitting at the top of the stairs, in what had been the complete dark. She just stared down at me, and I swear to God, her eyes were completely black, and her strawberry blonde hair had been bleached completely white. I was scared more than ever in my entire life. But slowly, I walked up the stairs to her. When I got to the top, her eyes and her hair turned normal, and she began sobbing, saying that something was attacking her, and she felt like she was filled with hate. We held each other through the night, and talked about it several times after. My wife is convinced she was possessed. I believe she was as well. We live in California again and have been married for 8.5 years. Nothing has ever happened like that ever again.